All right, everybody. NBA Cup schedule has got the Celtics in a weird place here. A lot of off days. So we took a little break from doing some post game. Celtics, we're recording this on a Sunday night. Celtics play the Pistons Monday night, maybe tonight if you listen to this Monday morning. So we're going to take a little break here and we're going to pass the rock here. We're going to take a look around the league. We're going to take a look at the Celtics. We're going to jump around to a few different topics. So you don't want to miss a thing. So sit back, relax, tune in. You guys know the deal. This is Green with Envy. Let's lock in. What up, what up, what up? Welcome into another edition of Green with Envy. As always, this is your boy Will Weir checking in. How you doing? How you living? Joining me as he does each and every time, my best friend, co-host, and the coach of our podcast, the one and only, Greg Manakis. Greg, how was your weekend, man? We're recording late here on a Sunday night, so how was your weekend?
Weekend was pretty good. I'm excited to talk about some of the stuff. We're gonna do a little pass the rock segment today, not to spoil the rundown for everybody, but that's what's gonna happen. So I think I'm gonna save some of the stuff for passing the rock, because I think I got some good stuff that we can kind of dive into. But I'll just give you, just brief overview of what went down. Friday, boys' night with James. Danielle was out happy hour with some coworkers. And then last night was a girls' night for her. So she was out with your lady and all the friends down here in Austin. So it was back-to-back nights where I was on my own. So watched a lot of sports and ate a lot of junk food. It was pretty great.
It's not bad. Me, you, and our guy Lipsack had basically had a virtual boys' night, basically just kind of texting through the cup game, which we will talk about here quite a bit. As I mentioned at the top, the schedule's been really weird. A lot of off days. Celtics had a game on Thursday night against the Bucks. Got cracked by Kyle Kuzma and Bobby Portis. Which, by the way, Greg, did you happen to check the score of the Bucks game this evening?
Yeah, they lost by like 40 to the Nets.
45. You underestimated it. 45 to the Nets tonight. Isn't that just, that's just how things go some nights. Some nights Kyle Kuzma and Bobby Portis can't miss a shot, and the Celtics miss 16 straight threes. And, it is what it is. So with that, we didn't feel a pressing need to come in here and break that game down, just to be real with y'all. So we let everything play out with the cup. Celtics will have a big game on Monday night. We're going to have something for you guys Tuesday afternoon. So we are going to record live probably Tuesday afternoon, or if we don't record live, we'll put it up that night. We'll see. TBD. But we're going to have a good episode after we get Celtics Pistons, because that will be a big one. So we'll have a lot of coverage for you on that. But let's just jump right into it here. So let's cue the music and we'll pass the rock.
You guys ready? What's the plan, Bobby? We're winging it, Jerry.
Yeah! I got the rock now! I got this motherfucker now! What?
All right. So, Greg, do you want to get this started? You said you had a few things you wanted to save, or I've got something here that I can jump us off into if you prefer.
Is yours basketball related?
It is basketball related, yeah. Yep, and I think we already have Greg frozen here. So that is a great way to start this episode here, as we have Greg frozen on the screen. So we're going to let Greg go ahead and get unfrozen. But as I'm sure most of you did last night, Greg kind of started talking about this. So I'm going to set this up for us, because this is going to be where I want us to go first. Last night, NBA Cup. We had the first game, Eastern Conference. We had the Knicks and the Magic. It was fine. Game was okay. Got to learn a little bit of things about those two teams. See, Greg, are you back? Are you clocked in here?
Dude, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I'm back.
It's all right. We got you now. Okay. So I'm gonna go first, because I've already started to set this up for the audience here. You haven't missed anything. I did a good job stalling while we got you. We got you back here.
King of the filibuster.
Exactly. So I want to start with some NBA Cup thoughts, and we can talk about Knicks Magic later. That was a fine game, but last night was all about OKC and the Spurs, right? Like that game. To me, it felt like the future, right? That's the future of the league right there. Just kind of looking at that. So I think there's a bunch of different ways that we could just talk about the game itself, what it means now. I want to look at this from a Celtics lens. And I started thinking about it, Greg. And I started thinking about looking at those two rosters, which OKC, we know they're a complete roster. They won the championship last year. They look even better this year. The Spurs are kind of chasing them. And obviously they have an accelerant known as Victor Wembanyama, which is, he obviously takes them to a whole new level. But the rest of that roster is, I think, a lot better, a lot quicker than people even imagined it would be for this year.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about the Celtics, looking at those two teams, because we're still in the middle of our timeline, right? Like, I know we're on pause with Jason Tatum, but we're still in the middle of our Jays timeline. So those are going to be, when we look at the top of the league, the type of rosters that we need to compete with. And so I want to start here open-ended to you, and then I have a few notes that I wrote down. What stood out to you most watching that game between those two teams, and what you think about the Celtics team?
The thing that stood out to me most was how Victor Wembanyama made everybody else look very human. Like Chet Holmgren oftentimes looks like a unicorn out there. Shea, that was the first time I've ever seen Shea look mortal in the past 2 years. Every time I tune into a Thunder game, Shea just has his pulse on the game. Everything, he's puppet master on offense, just doing whatever he wants to do, getting to his spots. And last night, he looked mortal. Chet Holmgren looked mortal, and it's all because of the juxtaposition standing next to Victor Wembanyama. And when you think about the Celtics roster, in the past, having a 6'9" do-it-all forward like Jason Tatum and a 6'6" two-way wing like Jaylen Brown was enough to be a contender, like perennial contender in the league, where you look at any other team and you're like, hey, we're starting with these two guys. We feel pretty damn good about it. But looking at that roster that the Spurs have, just because of Wembanyama, like he's the one, the accelerant, as you said, I think that's a great nickname for him there. It's just different, man. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me was the depth for both teams and the amount of ball handlers and playmakers that were out there on the court at all times, and two-way players out there on the court at all times.
Right. So I think that's what jumped out to me. And yeah, the accelerant, as far as a nickname for Wemby, maybe that works better for Stan Van Gundy, who Alien. You didn't like that one. That was an interesting way for Stan Van to take that last night in the broadcast. But we'll let that one be. If you don't know what we're talking about, you can go look that comment up. But I think, again, the depth is, I think, what really stood out. It's the depth and the versatility of that depth, right? Because you look at these teams, Greg, and I looked last night just at those the players that played, and both of these teams kind of have people in reserve that didn't even touch the court, that if they needed to, still give them a certain quality. Like, guys like, whether it's Kelly Olynyk, if you need stretch shooting bigs from the Spurs, they have a guy in Carter Bryant who's a rookie that hasn't touched the floor. We know the Thunder could lose anybody seemingly and just replace them with somebody. We know that. But
I just want to pump the brakes on Kelly Olynyk. I think Kelly Olynyk is pretty washed at this point.
Fair enough. My point being, San Antonio has other reserves that we could look to here. Jeremy Sohan's a guy that I can look to that defensively has some versatility. But the big point to me, Greg, that stood out is, and you kind of nailed it here, is each team has about 3 to 4 ball handlers, like really quality ball handlers. Each team has at least 2 bigs that they can rely on, one of which can usually shoot, Chet Holmgren, Victor Wembanyama, and therefore allows them to play with 1 big, with 2 bigs, and at times with no bigs, which both teams do quite frequently. And we've seen the Celtics kind of been enacting that this season. And then they each have about 4 to 5 versatile wings that really kind of go across that two-way spectrum that you mentioned of being able to give you offensive versatility in some form or fashion, and then being able to defend really kind of, some guys 1 through 5, some guys 2 through 5, some 2 through 4. Like there's all these different machinations of lineups that they can use. And so I look at the Celtics, and it's like, in looking at our roster, of course, I'm looking at this roster from a Tatum perspective, so I'm putting him in the. We're not there, I think, on the level of these two teams depth-wise, but I don't think they're actually that far away. That was one of my conclusions. We're certainly not there. I want to be very clear about that.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at the Celtics, you look at their ball handlers, you look at Peyton Pritchard, you look at Derek White, you look at Jaylen Brown, you look at Jason Tatum. Those are kind of the four that I think I would peg for this team. The bigs, we know that. There's Neemias Queta. There's nothing else right now. That's something that needs to be solved. That's just an issue. And then you look at the versatile wings, right? Of course, you mentioned the Jays, right? Like they're going to be a part of that mix. Jordan Walsh and Josh Minott, we're still waiting to ensure that what we're seeing is real, specifically with Jordan Walsh to this level. Because if Jordan Walsh is on this level, hell yeah, throw him in the mix. Josh Minott, still probably a little bit more erratic than some of the guys that you can look at on the Thunder and the Spurs that they can continually rely on. But then you have potential in, Ugo Gonzalez. You have, Sam Hauser, who's, something. I don't know where you want to put him in comparison to these other guys. But to me, I look at what the Celtics are building out, and I actually felt, despite the fact of how scary that game looks for those two teams and what they can potentially be, not just this year, but the next 2, 3, 4 years. And I actually don't think the Celtics are that far behind. They're behind, but they're not that far behind, is what I left with last night. Maybe that's too optimistic. You tell me.
Yeah, I honestly was not expecting you to go there. I did say a couple pods ago that there's a world in which the current Celtics roster construction actually makes more sense for where their NBA is trending to the previous roster construction, right? With kind of more plotting bigs like Porzingis. Horford on offense is more of a plotting big, but defensively can really move his feet, and great defender. We all know that about Al Horford. But when you think about the Queta aside, all the guys with the versatility that you can go small ball five, right? The lineup that I really want to see, the Minott, Walsh, Jays, and Derek White lineup. Like that's the type of lineup that I think you're talking about, right? You just have all of these guys that can play both ends of the court, just play with a ton of pace, a ton of energy, and can just be really handsy and physical, because that's the thing that kind of stood out to me watching the game last night. Even though the Celtics are starting to like find the archetype of roster and archetype of players, they don't have Lou Dort. They don't have Alex Caruso. They don't have J-Dub, right? Those three guys, they're the defensive, like, dude, the defensive talent. That's the only way to describe it. Like how talented those guys are on defense, the handsiness, the Alex Caruso D'ing up Wemby after D'ing up Jokic in game 7 of a conference finals. Like Lou Dort coming over that Wembanyama when he's going Statue of Liberty and he somehow hits the ball. Like,
clean as hell. Yeah.
Lou Dort's 6'3", dude. Like, how do these guys make these plays? J-Dub was just unbelievable on defense as well. Like picking Steph Castle clean, picking Harper clean. Like these dudes are just top level defenders. Like every single one of those guys could be in the running for best wing defender in the league.
Yeah, it's truly unfair. And the crazy part is Wemby came in and played 20 minutes, and they, to your point, the crazy part was he had 5 turnovers, felt like 7, 8, 9 turnovers, even though he was crazy impactful in 20 minutes. And it was a testament to the Thunder's defense. But then also, I thought it was just an incredibly resilient game by the Spurs, because they got knocked in the mouth. And it looked like early on, Thunder were just going to run away with this like they do almost every game. We commented in our group chat, like, hey, I'm very curious to see what Fox, Castle, and Harper look like in this game. And early on, they didn't look like shit, right? Like it looked like, oh, they're gonna get rocked tonight. And to their credit, specifically Castle and Fox, Harper's a rookie, like he was fine for a rookie, but like Castle and Fox responded in a big way, basically from about midway through the second quarter all the way through the end of that game. Despite a couple, certainly from Castle, some turnovers that you can look at that, or you got to cut those out. You just can't have those versus the Thunder. And they just left me extremely impressed with everything about those two teams.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's future basketball.
I think what really impressed me about the guards for the Spurs is how none of them got sped up in the game last night. They all continued to play at the pace that they normally play at. Even though Castle made some stupid turnovers, it wasn't like it was. I don't even know how to describe. They were just kind of dumb. Like he would drive the lane, get caught in the air, and throw like a skip pass to the corner, blind skip pass to the corner when there was a guy already standing there. Like he just wasn't seeing the floor well. It wasn't like the Thunder speed was giving them problems. And from what I saw, Fox was the fastest guy on the court, as he always is. Harper played, although he didn't play well, he didn't get sped up at all. Kind of similar to looking at AJ. What's his name? AJ what?
DeBanza?
No. The guard for the Thunder, the lefty.
Mitchell? AJ Mitchell.
Yeah. Kind of like the way that he played in the game last night. Like he wasn't sped up at all. Very Jalen Brunson-y, just like playing at your own pace. And all three of those guards, I thought, did a really good job. And that's one thing with the Celtics, when bringing it back to the Celtics, is like how many guys always play at the pace they want to play at, right?
Yeah.
Pritchard, he can, but he can definitely get out physical than out athletic. He typically has a good handle on his pace. Derek White, he's not a guy that I think really plays at his own pace against like the elite defenders. I think overall I would say yes to that. But when you go up against a team like OKC, he can definitely get sped up. Jaylen Brown, we know, can get sped up, even though he's amazing. Jason Tatum can get sped up, even though we know he's amazing, right? So like that level of ball handling, just like inherent DNA. Like, do the Celtics actually have that to compete against these like top level defenses?
Yeah, that'll be a question that they have to solve. And, it's interesting to think about, and watching what's developing around the league right now. It's something that, in Celtics, this is something I had as a bullet point. I don't think we need to use as like a full segment, but, there was an article in The Athletic this past week by 36 executives who were the top front offices. Celtics came in second. OKC was number one, but Celtics came in second. They've got a lot of evidence that backs that up. So it will be on them. And I think it's really interesting to see, what we take away from this year and what that looks like going forward. Let's go to you, Greg, here. Let's swing the rock back to you.
All right. Before we go to me, we got a lot of activity in the chat here. So I just want to kind of catch up here. We got a comment from Rob version 1. Celtics are a healthy JT and a serviceable backup big from contending in the East. I agree with that. I think we're on record kind of coming around as believers, right, in this team. As long as JT decides to play this year and the organization allows him to play this year. There was it was a Himmelsbach. Somebody came out with a report that he might not actually play this year. So
he's got several, I think they phrased it as he has several more, checkpoints or check marks that he's got to hit. And he's right now pretty far away from that. But again, we talked about this. There's at least a full 2 to 3 months before we would even expect him to come back. So that tracks.
Yeah, agreed. Alex, producer Alex. Sup, guys? It's Alex. I'm not home right now. I thought I'd tune in on YouTube and ask you guys if you talked about KP's mysterious virus coming back. So we did touch on this on the last pod. I don't know if anybody tuned into that one, but a friend of mine actually was diagnosed with POTS recently, and apparently it's a real thing, and it is debilitating. Like, this person is struggling. Life is completely upended. Overall, I think like they're not at risk of like dying or anything like that, but just like the day-to-day existence is tough, where like they were talking about wearing a heart monitor or like one of those watches that tracks your heart overnight. And apparently like at night, heart rate was like 140, which is like peak level of like strenuous activity. Right. So it can be really tough. So now that I know it exists in other people, I feel really bad for him, because it sounds like it's impossible to kind of just like get through.
And the thing is, like, your friend compared to KP and the resources that have been put into this thing.
Right.
And it appears that obviously it's recurring. It's, I was reading today, like whatever the plan was that was set up, it was manageable and it made sense. And now it's kind of recurring. And I think Shams had a report earlier today that they're just going to take like a couple weeks and just like try to monitor it and figure out, what's happening. And ultimately, it just sounds really unfortunate. Like, yes, it was frustrating as Celtics fans, because you're just like, what is this? And now that it's been diagnosed, and it's kind of something that sounds like, and it's crazy because what was the injury from the finals that was like 13 people in the world that ever had this injury that KP had, right? So like, I mean, honestly, like KP is really injury plagued, but hitting like some of the strangest most random injuries and illnesses that not just occur to athletes, but occur to anyone, really,
Right.
is what it seems like.
I
And it
mean,
just
how,
sounds
but
really unfortunate.
how many people are 7'4" and can do all the stuff that he can do? Like he's already like one of 3 people in the world that can do that, and it was like one of 3
Yeah.
people in the world that have these other things going on. Maybe he's just not meant to be 7'4".
Yeah.
Another comment here from $5 footlong. JT doesn't catapult Boston into championship contention. I still like Nimi, but he's not skilled enough to compete against a Wemby in a playoff series. I don't think anybody would argue with that. Comment from Rob. Yep, just confirming that KP has pots. $5 foot long. Gafford, Sharp, and Zubac are just placeholders, not worthy of draft capital. I'd say Zubac is worthy of draft capital.
Yeah, I mean,
Zubac
I see a
is-
couple comments in here about that, and it's like, and a few of these are just measuring up to Wemby. Nobody's measuring up to Wemby. Like
Yeah.
we just mentioned Chet Holmgren like 2 episodes ago is probably going to be all NBA this season, and the block that Wemby had on Chet is the type of block that you see a 7-footer have on a guy who's 6'2".
Right.
Not, and it's 7'5" blocking 7'1", or
Yeah.
whatever the height difference is. So if your standard is who can hang with Wemby, like that's a bad premise, right? Like you're not gonna find. I mean, you may have to match up with him, and you got to find, to your point, Greg, you got to find the Caruso.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like you
can-
grab Alex Caruso.
yeah,
Who's
you got to
who's
find
the
that guy.
6'6" guy with great hands that can get up
Mhm.
under him and make it difficult for him to get his shot off. Like even that ridiculous fadeaway that Wemby had, where Caruso swiped down and blocked the ball, and then
Was
Wemby got
like
it
falling
back.
over on the
It-
baseline? Is that the one
No,
you're
the
talking
the
about?
one that was on the left elbow, right?
Oh,
He
yeah, okay, I know what
yeah,
you're
he
talking
posted
about,
up Caruso. Caruso swipes down. Wemby regains the ball as he's going away from the basket, goes up to shoot again. Caruso hits the ball again, and Wemby still hits the shot, and that's when he like
Yeah.
pointed at him and stared him
Started
down.
talking shit.
Like Wemby's just unbelievable, man. Like there's no matchup in the league that's a good matchup against Wemby. Some of the stuff that he was doing in that game last night, where he's just like, go gadget arm reaching over somebody to just tap the ball to him over here, and then he's just making a ridiculous pass that way. And he was clearly like rusty. He had a whole bunch of stupid turnovers and was like forcing the shit out of it. But like the impact that he had in 20 minutes was absolutely ridiculous.
That's the thing. He wasn't even that great last night. And he wasn't that great, but he was at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that was by far the most sped up, I guess is the best way to say it. I know I said it earlier, but sped up I've seen him since like his rookie year, right? Like the Thunder just have a habit of doing that to people.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Good with the I think we did a good job.
Yeah, we're good with the chat for right now. Give us what you got, Greg.
All right. We're going to go out of basketball. We're going to bring it to life, okay? Because our girls, shout out Lore, shout out Danielle, shout out all the girls in the Austin girls group. Astronaut Barbies, I think is their little group chat name. They go out to a girls' dinner last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you and Liptak were texting each other like, kind of worked out perfect for us because we just get to watch basketball and be dumpy. Well,
I told Lode earlier today. When she told me about this, like maybe Thursday. It was sometime after I knew that OKC and San Antonio was happening that night. I told her I started planning this immediately. She was like, "Yeah, I was wondering why you didn't push back at all." I was like, I had no problems with it. I was very excited for last night.
Kind of perfect. So here, let me just set the scene for you, Will. I ordered myself a medium pepperoni mushroom pizza from Domino's and chocolate lava cakes from Domino's because there's like a deal on Uber Eats. So I grabbed that, ate the entire medium pizza to myself within, I don't know, 20 minutes. I just crushed it. Like old school, can eat whatever I want, Greg, even though I can't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I ate the entire pizza and then I had one of the chocolate lava cakes. Danielle and I had the other 2 tonight. But it was just so much fun just watching the game. But what I was thinking about is like what the girls were talking about at this dinner. And they're talking shit about their guys, right? That's just happening. They got to be talking about all the ways that we pissed them off or whatever.
Good time
and that's just what the girls are going to do, right? I get it. But today when I woke up, I was like, you know what? I think I got to prove myself. Because I'm sure there was a lot of stuff that was like thrown out there about like, things I might be able to do better in comparison to some of the other guys in our friend group. Right. So this morning I got up, cleaned the entire kitchen, but not only just cleaned, I like cleaned the shit out of the kitchen. Like I cleaned the microwave, I cleaned the fridge. I was doing all that stuff because I was just kind of anxious. Like I got a little nervous that Danielle was like hearing great stuff about all the other guys in the group, and maybe would just start looking at me like, this motherfucker's lazy as shit. He needs to do more around the house. So I made sure I made a point today to clean the house and to be loud about it, banging the dishes around, slamming the cabinets, all that stuff, just to prove that I was doing my thing and that I can contribute over here.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I went and played golf this morning. Yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't. I'll just be honest. I just wasn't super worried about that. We've also had where I've been like off work on my like second stint of paternity leave, so I've been like already trying to be like, oh hey, like I'll take as many like overnight shifts as I can when the baby wakes up, and like,
good man.
our whole house was sick for like 2 weeks, so it was just a drag for everybody, kind of all around. So tried to step up in those moments, and honestly, I was just reveling in having the night to myself. It was just like super needed and super nice. And so yeah, no, I mean, I understand what you're saying, because I've definitely, I mean, I think we all go through moments like that where like, you're sitting there and like, I mean, even today it probably happened at some point. Like I had to, dude, it was cold, it was way too cold to be playing golf today. I after 9 holes, I was like, you guys keep going, I'm out. And called it. So came back, but like there's times where even like that, I'm just like, God, I want to just sit here, but like, Laura is like doing something productive for the baby.
Right.
I got to do something. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take the diaper bags out. let me go do something here. Like you gotta like push yourself a little bit.
You know why I also felt like I needed to prove myself? Because Danielle was out with coworkers on Friday, and she came home and she was asking me like if I knew what her favorite book was. And I was like, I think it's Wheel of Time. Like it's either Wheel of Time or Harry Potter. And she's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what is your favorite book? And she's like, I've talked about it so many times. It's India or Inda. I think it's called Inda. It's right over there. It's like literally on the bookshelf. And she's like pointing at it. And she's had a few drinks. And I'm like, I mean, honestly, Danielle, I've never heard you mention this before. You may have talked about it, but you always talk about Wheel of Time. You always talk about Harry Potter. You always talk about, what's the guy's name? Terry, I forget the guy's last name, but she has like tattoos from like her favorite books. I'm like, you don't have a tattoo of this book series. Like, I don't think it can be your favorite book. You know what I mean? And she's right. I've talked about it being my favorite book and talked about wanting to get tattoos. So I was also kind of like, coming into the next couple of days with that in my mind, like, oh, she thinks I don't know what her favorite book is. So I really got to like listen extra hard. Go ahead.
Have you guys ever had like a, so this happened maybe like maybe a year and a half ago or so. We were at a friend's, I forget if it was an engagement party or they got married like separately. We had like a, like a small like get together with them and some friends on Lorena's side. And, we got officially married a little over a year ago. Right. And again, this month we've had 2 weddings, whatever. And so they were like, oh, let's just do like on the spot, like this random, like newly married, like the newly
yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
And in my head, I'm like, sure. But in the back, I'm like, fuck. Like, I don't want to look like I don't know. And honestly, we fucking smoked them. It was great. Like it made me feel great. We were very on the same page, but there was one question where something very similar to what you're saying came up, where it's like, what's like your favorite movie or whatever. And I can't remember what I said for her, but I now know that it's The Devil Wears Prada. Okay. And I was like, hold on. Let's back this up. It's kind of like your same logic, which is why I was tracking with it. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
We've been together for at this time like 6 years, like 7-something years now. That's your favorite movie? How come you've never asked me to watch it? If it's your favorite movie, you would have asked me to watch it, or you would have been like, this is a movie I gotta watch. So I did the same thing you did, where I'm like, listen, like, and I can't remember what movie I said, but it's like something that we had to have. I think I might have said like Love Actually or something, because we watch it every Christmas. So I was like, all right, I'll just kind of go with that. And so I had the same. It's like the same. I know exactly where your mindset was. Like, you might have mentioned this movie, but like, So I made us watch it because like I've actually hadn't seen it up until
Yeah, I've
then.
never
So I was
seen
like,
it.
if this is your favorite movie, I have to watch it now. Like I have to know what your favorite movie is. So we need
Here's
to
my
watch
question:
it
is the
together.
devil an actual character in that movie,
I mean,
or is it just
like
someone
okay,
who's
no,
like a real bitch?
yeah, it's just a boss. It's a real bitch. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like the actual devil, but yes. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from on that. So very much aligned with that thought process that you had there for her favorite book.
Cool. Yeah, that's what I got for my my pass on the rock.
Okay.
Back to you.
All right. Back to me here. So I've got something. Are we gonna do mediocre life update, or are we just gonna keep this in passing the rocks? I do have something non-sports related, but I want to see how we're playing.
No, we'll do an official mediocre life update.
Okay, then I'm gonna save my non-sports thing for
Okay.
that. The other thing that I want to bring up here. This is back to basketball. I'm already kind of tired of all the Giannis talk. So I just want to ask you, like, the more that I think about it, because last night, again, watching the Spurs, they're one of the teams rumored, and we were talking about this a little bit, like who potentially could make a move for Giannis. Interestingly, I know at least as of last night, we'll see if this has changed. You were like, I think they should go for it because of the reasons that it might help them match up with OKC.
Yeah.
I don't think they should do it. And I think, honestly, the more I've really thought about this whole Giannis situation, at least right now in season, I really think there's only maybe 2 teams that should actually trade for Giannis. Everyone else should either hold their shit unless the Bucks are just going to give them away. And I think there's only 2 teams that should really significantly go after Giannis. But I'm also getting tired of all the updates already. But I wanted to get your thoughts.
I mean, so let's just say what I said in the group chat first. I said that the Spurs should trade Steph Castle and picks and salary or whatever to make it work to get Giannis,
which is the issue in my opinion.
Right. I take it back that it should be Castle. It should be Harper, because I think Harper is already like, they already kind of have that in Fox, like a lefty point guard that can really like handle the game and everything, and he's a better version of Harper right now, whereas Castle, like the two-way versatility of him, I didn't realize how big Steph Castle is. Like they said on the broadcast last night that he says he's 6'7", and I didn't believe it until I saw him. I hate that you said that.
I'm cool, man. I'm cool. I'm still cool.
Standing next to SGA, and I was like, oh, he's bigger than SGA, and I kind of didn't realize that he was actually that big. And I think you need somebody in that mold of a player to compete with an SGA when he was the main guy guarding SGA. Real quick tangent.
Yeah.
I know we were talking about how great that roster is and everything, but we had Champagnie. Champagnie's like getting real minutes for the fucking Spurs.
Did we have him, or we had his brother?
I think we had that one.
I think it was his brother. Well, let's put a pin in that. I'll try to look that up while you keep talking through this, but keep talking.
The Giannis thing is the question. What do I think about Giannis and like all the trade shit, or should people trade?
The question is, who do you think should trade for Giannis?
Okay.
Let's go there.
I still think the Spurs should do it. I think, especially after watching, if you can build a package around Harper, I don't think it should be Vassell, but Harper, Harrison Barnes, Sohan, and some, picks, you should absolutely do that. Like 100 times out of 100, you should do that, because I think you're actually the best team in the league, no question, if you're able to somehow keep Fox, Vassell, Castle, Giannis, and Wemby. I don't think there's a question. I don't think you losing Harper and losing Barnes, it's like, yeah, you lose a little bit of depth, but are you really saying like, oh, I would rather have Harper and Barnes than Giannis? Like, absolutely not.
No, but here's the thing for me is like, and so by the way, it was Justin Champ that we had, not Julian Champagnie.
Okay, so not the Spurs guy.
It was the brother. Not the Spurs guy. No, because I made that mistake before too. Because I at first was like, man, that guy didn't really impress me when I got like a little bit of run with the Celtics. I was like, that's his brother. That dude can shoot. I like Julian Champagnie.
And he was guarding SGA.
Right. And so that's part of my versatile wings, right? That can kind of, he's a knockdown shooter. And like at certain points, they kind of had him playing anywhere from the 2 through the 4. At times they went with that, like they kind of went with that Celtics version of like, whether it's Champagny or Barnes, whatever you want to consider the nominal 5, like they have like all wings out there, basically ball handlers and wings. So to your point about like Harper, and this is my issue with like the Spurs specifically trading for Giannis, and why, if I was going to do it, I would actually probably try to center the deal around Fox, even though I think he's the best player right now. It just takes too much to get to Giannis's contract. Like if you're going to make Castle or Harper the guy, like Castle makes $9 million or just under $10 million. Harper makes $12 million. You got to get to $54 million. And so then from that, you're digging into
dollar for dollar.
I don't know if it's dollar for dollar, but you got to get pretty close, right? You got to get up there, or then you got to start adding in, another team. It just gets real complicated. And you're going to be throwing in picks and stuff. And so now all of a sudden you're looking at between Vassell, Barnes, Keldon Johnson, Kelly Olynyk, whatever, you'll throw him in for salary at $13 million, but that's still leaving you with quite a chasm that you got to fill. And now between Johnson, Barnes, and Vassell, those are all really important guys to your depth. And we mentioned before, like that's part of competing with OKC, that you have to have a certain level of depth. So I think the point that you're making of like, who would you rather have, Giannis or Harper and Barnes? I totally agree with, but to me, it's you can get there a lot easier with just Fox and Barnes or Fox and Keldon Johnson, and then you're bringing in Giannis, and then you have whatever it is, 3 to 5 years with Giannis, and then you're keeping your younger guards. You have you're doing what the Warriors couldn't do, the 2 timeline thing where you have Harper, Castle, Wemby, and then you've got Giannis and Vassell, I guess, or Vassell's not even that old; he's 25.
Yeah. I'd have to take a look at the contracts. I think Vassell was really impressive last night. I've never been a big Vassell guy, but
finally, the Vassell that I've been wanting you to see, because I've liked Vassell. Okay, so for the audience listening, I like Vassell. I wouldn't say he's not one of the guys that I probably like rave about, but I just like him as like a really quality 2 guard. Like he's a pure 2 guard, like in the sense of what I think, at least if you're in your mid 30s and above, when you grew up with like, what's a 2 guard look like outside of like the Michael Jordan group? It's like Devin Vassell. That's kind of what I envision. Devin Vassell, Bradley Beal at some point, like something to that effect. And I've always said that, and Greg just keeps going, never see it. I don't like it. I don't think I've ever seen him. I like it. We went to a game last year. It was the game we went specifically to see Wemby. Wemby gets the heart condition. He's out against the blood clot. He's out right before literally the game. They were in Austin. The night before is when it gets, announced. We're like, shit, well, we just got these really nice seats, and now we're watching a Pistons team that we didn't know was going to be who they are today, which is nice now that we got kind of a glimpse of them, and a Spurs team that was like kind of underwhelming last year. So it's like, cool, let's just try to enjoy this for what it is. And Devin Vassell could not have been fucking worse. He was awful in that game.
Every time I've ever seen him, he's been terrible.
And last night, I was really pumped that he gave you a game of like, okay, I've seen this a couple times before. This can happen before. This is the Devin Vassell that I think I'm a little leery about throwing into a trade, just because he plays so much better when you put him in the right context.
Right. So looking at their contracts, Barnes makes 19, Johnson makes 17. That's 36 right there. He said you got to get to 54.
That's Giannis. Yeah, 54.
Okay. Kelly Olynyk gets you to 49. Okay, so Barnes, Johnson, Olynyk, and then Sohan gets you to 50, 55, and then all the picks, right? So you could get rid of your end of rotation depth with just contracts and get there. I don't think that's enough to get Giannis. Maybe it is, maybe not. I think losing Barnes, Johnson, and Harper, to me, I'd take Giannis over having those 3 guys any day. Like, I don't think Barnes and Johnson do enough for the team. Like Harper, you're losing something big. You're losing something now. Yeah. You're losing something in the future. But Barnes and Johnson, Giannis, like, come on. Like, what are we talking about here? It's fucking Giannis.
Yeah, he's also injured a lot, man. That's just the thing. Is like, he's like, I understand what you're saying. I think when it's Harper plus the picks, I think if we're talking about like OKC, they're a team where basically anyone outside of SGA goes down, I don't know anyone that I still might pick them in almost every series in the, against anyone in the league, right? All of a sudden now you're relying on Giannis and Wemby with their health, and like you're kind of accelerated your timeline. You've lost some of your safety net. Like, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying I wouldn't feel great about it. I don't love that as much as if I can make a quicker replacement where if it's Fox and Keldon or Fox and Barnes, like nothing changes about my short-term and my long-term plans. I want to win right now and I want to compete, and I want to secure that Wemby has a solid foundation going forward if I can do that trade, So that's where I would be at. But the other teams outside of the Spurs that I think it makes sense for, I don't think any other team in the West it really makes sense for. The other teams that I think are both in the East, and the team that, and then, it's obviously I'm not the first saying this. A lot of people have kind of brought this up and convinced me that I do think this is the best move. I think the Hawks make the absolute most sense. I think as a partner is if they can, and I would, if I were them, I would take Jalen Johnson off the table, do it kind of on your terms, but basically between Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Ricochet, a Okongwu, whatever it takes to get it done outside of, Jalen Johnson. And you have contracts with KP as well. We just talked about his Potts issue, and he's got.
But what does that do? What does that do? Does that make them contenders? Like, do you think that team is going to beat
for the Hawks?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes them the favorites in the East. If they're trading Trae, and let's just say it's Trae, Ricochet, and a bunch of picks. Let's just say that's the deal, right? I think the Hawks become probably the favorites in the East if you add Giannis.
Jalen Johnson and Giannis play almost the exact same type of basketball. It's going to be redundant out there. They're going to have a hell of a defense. It's going to be athletic, all that stuff. They're going to be a real problem. They won't have any shooting, and they're going to be taking the ball out of Jalen Johnson's hands when he's been a revelation this year. I see that as like a huge fit problem, to be honest with you. I don't think it. I think it makes the Hawks better, but like to say, oh, this no brainer, the Hawks have to do that. I just don't see that. I think the basketball fit is a real problem there. I do think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in the Trae Young business. So if I'm getting out of the Trae Young business and that's fair. I'm going.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Watching the Thunder last night. They've got a lot of guys, and it felt like they're never fully healthy. So like throughout the season, they can just kind of play, mix and match whoever they want. When it mattered last night, guys got squeezed out of minutes. Guys got squeezed out of the rotation. There's a real argument that they could consolidate and put shit together to get Giannis, like
easily.
I know it's like kind of crazy, but like watching them and like how much. It felt like there were just minutes would go by. I'm like, where's J-Dub? Like, where's Lou Dort? I haven't seen Lou Dort in forever. It's like, oh, you're taking Caruso out of the game right now? Like, what are you doing? I think there's a real argument that like they could be the sneaky team to just be like, you know what, fuck it. Let's just go get Giannis. Let's just ruin the league.
I don't think they do that. I mean, again, the argument was if they lost last year to the Pacers, I think they absolutely would have done this.
Right.
Like, here's a bunch of picks. You take, we can package whatever together. They're 24-2. There's no chance they're doing this right now. Again, I think if they pull a Warriors, say, and they go 74-8 or win 75 games and then fall short in the NBA finals, then I can see them being like, hey, here's 2 first-round picks this year, 2 first-round picks next year, and here's whatever they need to do to, outside of SGA, maybe sacrifice one of J-Dub or Chet and go get Giannis. Like, then I could see that being a possibility in season. I just feel like the vibes are too good with that team. I don't see that happening right now.
So they could get there, Will, contract wise. Hartenstein makes 28.5, Dort makes 18, right? So right there, that's 46. Or is that 46? Yeah. 46 million. The player, I think, has to be, so you got to throw in AJ Mitchell. You probably throw in Topic, right? And just Usman Dang or somebody like that. Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe. Like,
in there. I would say if you're the Bucks, I think you got it. Like, if you're not going to get Chet or J-Dub, which I think the Thunder would not probably do, like, you have to. If you get AJ Mitchell, if you believe what happening with AJ Mitchell is real this year, and you get Kason Wallace plus the draft picks, then you're at least like, we're getting our backcourt of the future. and we're getting a bunch of
Okay.
draft picks.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. So Kason Wallace and AJ Mitchell, Hartenstein, Dort for Giannis and picks. I can do
Boatload
it.
of picks. Yeah, I mean that's I think that would be on the table as one of the best offers. Like it's
That is the best
honestly
offer. With
it's
all
going
the
to be
picks they
really
have?
weird. It's going to be really weird to see what Giannis goes for is what it's coming down to. And someone said the other day, I can't remember what I was listening to, they were like, yeah, like I don't know if the Bucks are going to get as they should get more, but they might not get as much as what the Nets got for Mikal Bridges. Like that was what people were saying, what I heard on a podcast the other day. And I was like, that's a scary reality if you're a Bucks fan to be hearing that in the podcast. Like that would make me curl up in a ball.
Yeah. All
right. Let's go back to you for one, and then we'll do mediocre life update, and then we'll get out of here.
Let me see. I didn't bring a lot of basketball content to this, to be honest with you. We're talking a lot about basketball, but I didn't personally bring a lot of basketball content. So are you okay with me saying another thing that's not basketball related?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Put James on a leash the other day. I know I sent you a picture. I think this is too big of an update to be a mediocre life update. So I'm going to go passing the rock. James is really tough to control, man. 17 and a half months. When we're out for walks with the dogs, he will just take off. And like you take your eye off him for half a second, he's like rolling down a hill towards the water. And you're just like, dude, like we really need to figure out a way to like corral you, because I'm walking the dogs. It's just Danielle. James is quicker and faster than she is. So he's just like, boom, it takes off. So Danielle's like, all right, how do I actually control this little guy? And she went out and bought a leash for him. I was a leash kid a couple times in my life. Okay. I remember being at the San Diego Zoo.
Leashes were a thing when we were kids?
Yeah. Yeah. They're still a thing.
I don't remember that at all. I mean, I know they became a thing because I've like seen them referenced. I'll be honest, I've seen very few in the wild, but I don't remember this like being a thing. Like I remember it becoming a thing like as I was older. I don't remember it like in our childhood being a thing.
I remember them like on your wrist, right? They would be like a leash. It was a leash on your wrist. And as you were like walking, it was the Washington, D.C. Zoo, not the San Diego Zoo. And I remember like walking around as a little kid and being tethered to my siblings, right? And I don't know if somebody was controlling the main tether, but I was definitely tethered to other human beings as I was walking around there. This was like a fucking leash. Like he had a harness. There was like a little strap on. And I was like, he like, people are going to be like, what the fuck is this family doing with their two dogs and the little feral child? So as we were walking down the street, like people are driving by and James is just on a leash. He's not, walking on all fours or anything, but I saw people like kind of pointing to him, like, look at that little baby on a leash. Yeah. And Danielle and I were very aware of how ridiculous it looked. I don't know if we're going to do it again, to be honest with you, but for at least one time, James was on a leash. We tried it out. We might have to do it at the airport, but it was a little rough.
Yeah. You sent me the picture and I was like, oh my God, he's a leash kid. Like that's all I could think about in my head. And like, again, like I said, I have not, I know of this and I know people have done it. I've never really seen it in person. I do think of, have you ever seen the Modern Family episode where they put a leash on Lily?
No.
So they go to like Disney World and they put a leash on her and they're trying to control her. And like half the family's embarrassed. Half the family is like, oh my God. Like I don't know what else to do, like I can't control her. And then at one point they find like another family that like also has their kid on the leash, so they start talking, and of course they turn it into like, how like when sometimes the dogs start sniffing each other and then they get caught up in the leashes and then they're trying to like cross over, and it's really 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 good. But yeah, I mean, listen, one thing I've definitely known and know even better now as a parent myself, you got to do whatever the fuck works. You just got to do it. Like, it doesn't matter. You'll deal with it later. Like you got to do whatever works. But the leash look is a look. It's a look for sure. Yeah. I came home after you had sent that to me. And I forget, I was busy doing something, so I didn't see it for a little bit, and I came home. I was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Greg sent me a picture. They put James on a leash." So that's to my wife.
What did
She was
Lorena
like, "They
say?
did what?" She's like, "They did what?" It's like, yeah, James was on a leash.
Oh, that's
And
great.
so, like, honestly, like, yeah, like, I mean, so for me, like, right now, my daughter is still like, she's not walking yet, she's not even crawling yet. So, like, when we go for walks, she's in her stroller. But like, my dog is like 75 pounds, he's got a ton of
Mhm.
energy, and sometimes he's great to walk with, and it's like the best like half hour of my day. Other days, I'm like, can't get this 15 to 20 minutes over with quick enough,
Right.
because you're seeing squirrels and you're lunging at them. You're seeing a dog across the street and you're like not aggressive, but he's doing like this, like runs in a circle, like in place,
Mhm.
because he wants to go run across the street. And I got to like yank him back. And like, if I have my headphones in, I don't catch it in time, he's like yanking me across. So like, honestly, the other day, or yeah, was it today or maybe yesterday, we went for a walk, and like, you say the magic word, the guys on all four legs, they know the word. So
Yeah.
we always say stroll, and then we never go for one right afterwards. That's like kind
Nice.
of our code word.
I
But
like it.
walk, when that gets said, he knows. And I think we said it by accident when we were going to go out with the baby. And so he's getting all into it. And my wife Lotte is like, "So are we gonna bring the dogs?" Like, you know what? I'll do another walk with him when I get back. I just don't want to deal with it. So like that's and we'll see what happens when my girl Mariana's out walking around. We'll see what that looks like. But my current solution is I'm just gonna do 2 walks. I'll do one with the baby. I'll come back. We'll put her take a nap, and then I'll take a loop. I'll take a loop with the big guy, because the two of them, when they get a chance together, we'll see what it looks like. But I can understand where you're coming from. Is what I'm coming to.
Yeah, and I think like today we were out at the store. Like, he's not on a leash at the store. It's just like out on a family walk when we're walking on the sidewalk near cars, right? Like, you can't have him just taking off towards the street. We didn't have our stroller with us. We wanted him like getting exercise.
Yeah.
There's a pond in our neighborhood, right? Like, he could very easily just like literally roll down the hill and go into the water. So like, we're protecting him. We're doing it for his own good.
You got to do what you got to do. Like I said, you got to do what you got to do. And every kid is different. So whatever works. But it's a look. And I think it's good. To your point earlier, you're going to get some looks. That won't change.
Definitely. All right. Mediocre life update. Let's do it.
All right. Let's cue it up here real quick.
All right, dude, that's enough.
I don't know. I let it go for one beat too long. I was looking for something else here, so I didn't get a chance to. All right, let me just jump in and go first here, because I got one for you here. You consider yourself a soup guy, right?
Come on, bro.
I know. Just for the audience. I know. I know.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response. Yes, okay. I am the soup guy.
I know you're a soup guy. I'm doing it for the audience. The audience, Greg, is a big time soup guy. So today in Austin, and this feels shitty knowing how that it was snowing and extra cold in Boston, but it was cold today in Austin. It was, big wind chill. It was like 40 degrees, felt like 25 or something like that, like really, really cold. So it felt like a soup day. So, after a little bit of pampering, me and the lady went and got some pedicures, felt a little fancy for the day. It was like, it's a little chilly.
Will said, for the audience, Will sent a picture of him getting a pedicure while watching the Pat Bills games, and it was
locked in, baby, and I think I jinxed us. Didn't go well for the Pats at the end. We were feeling ourselves a little bit too much in the group chat early on. But afterwards, we were like, all right, let's go get some soup. And I like soup. Definitely not a soup. I wouldn't consider myself a soup guy. Wing guy. Got some wings last night as part of our dumpy NBA Cup night.
Chicken wing king.
Talked about earlier. Yeah, baby. Spicy lemon pepper. And so we went and got some soup today. And when at certain times it just feels right. Want to go get some soup. Gotta say, man, had some bad soup, and a bad soup can really ruin your day. I really hated everything else. Like, I got a soup and a sandwich, and the sandwich was okay, but it was made even worse because I hated the soup. And my wife also, her soup was mediocre at best, hence mediocre life update. Yeah. But just wanted to say, or ask you as a soup guy, what are the things that I should look for in like a good soup spot? Because there's one place here in Austin that I think is overrated. It's called the Soup Peddler. So every time I type in soup, it just comes up with the Soup Peddler. Yeah, it stinks. I was making this case to my wife today. And so like every time I type in soup that comes up, I'm like, no, got to find something else. So like, what are the things that I should look for in a good soup place?
So where did you go today?
It's just like it's a chain, but it's like I think it's called La Madeleine. It's like it's a French spot, but it's
yeah, La Madeleine
Have you
sucks, dude. Yeah, don't get
okay. Yeah, okay. See, this is the thing. I've had like a sandwich from there like once. I know what it is, but
yeah, you got to. I mean, you got to go to a real
Yeah.
restaurant to get a soup. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you go somewhere, like for example, like a Panera or something like that, if you're saying that Panera soup and sandwich is something that you look forward to, then I just disagree with the things that you look forward to in life. Like Aubon Pen, like a place like that. Like those like chain restaurants that serve soup are not good soup places. Like you got to go to a restaurant that is a legitimate restaurant that maybe is the only of its kind that is going to be serving you soup. Like, for example, here in Austin, there's a place, I don't even know if it's open anymore, but I used to go to this place called Amaya's. It was like Amaya's Taco Village or something like that. One of the best chicken,
I know that place.
one of the best chicken caldos I've ever had. And there's, I think, like 2 Amaya's in the city of Austin. I don't think there's any more outside of the city of Austin. It's just like a local restaurant. Like that's where you want to get your soups from. Removing the high-end restaurants out there that are always going to have some good soup. Like you got to go to like a real, just like straight up restaurant to get your soup, not some like chain shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one place in Austin that I thought go because this is the thing is like that's a Mexican place, so it has like a few Mexican soups. Right? It has like the caldo that you mentioned. It might I haven't been there in a while, but maybe it has like pozole or it has menudo or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I was like in my mind, I was. What's up?
Menudo stinks.
Yeah, I'm not a dude. My Mexican family does not. They don't understand that we honestly we end up having pozole is awesome, and so we end up having pozole a lot more than menudo because I don't like menudo. I'm okay. I'm okay with taking that burden. But the thing is, like there was one. Remember this place called Gordo's here in was it Gourmands? Gourmands. Yeah. That was my soup place because that had like actual good soups and sandwiches. That was the great
soup, and they had soup in a bread bowl. Like legitimate sourdough loaf, dug out the middle of it. The soup goes
as long as you didn't get the clam chowder, which I did one time, and that was a mistake. But other than that, it was a great place for what you needed. I don't have any places like that here in Austin when it's just like I need like because like to your like the place that you mentioned, it's very specific. Like I kind of want like the full range of soups. Like I want to have like the broccoli cheddar. I want to have the French onion option. I want to have the if it was a better place, clam chowder, I like that as an option. Whether or not you count chili as a soup, that's kind of in between, but it's on a lot of soup menus. Different times you're like attracted to tomato soup, not my jam, but if you're gonna get a grilled cheese with it, all for it. I just wanted to have like those range of options, and I didn't really have that, and I was wanting it today. And bad soup. So end of the story, bad soup kind of ruined my day. And part of it was it just wasn't even hot, which is like the basic premise of soup. Be hot. Like it was I got a broccoli cheddar, which is basically a cup of like lukewarm cheese.
It's disgusting, dude.
Question. This is the last thing, then I'll go to yours here. What is your take on soup temperature when it's served?
Great question. I should not have to like react. Well, obviously I don't want it to be like scalding and be like, oh, like it's too fucking hot. I would say the same temperature that you want your bath.
That's a fucking weird way to put it. That just threw me like that. Just the visual like and trying to conceptualize that. Like
if I put my hand in it, like I want my hand to be comfortable. I want my hand to be like. Is
this what Larry David does with his coffee? Puts his nose in it.
Exactly. That's how I feel about my soup. Gotta be able to put my nose in
it. You're gonna go fucking like a Woody Woodpecker. Just put your nose in it. So here's what I say because we talked about this as well because we both didn't like the temperature of our soup. I think soup, to your point, shouldn't be so scalding hot, but I think it should be hot enough that you can taste it, but there should be 2 to 3 minute cooling down that it needs to do. Like it should be,
Yeah, a
I
couple
think,
degrees cooler than your cup of coffee.
yeah, because you shouldn't be able to get your soup and then just start digging it. Like that's not, that means it's not hot.
Yeah.
Like it needs
Okay.
to be like,
Here's the perfect temperature. When you have a couple minutes before you dive in, I don't have like an actual number next to it, but
Yeah.
when you can like dip your cracker in, and your cracker like immediately gets kind of soft.
yes, or better, your bread. Yes,
Or
correct.
your bread. Yeah.
I like
bread or cracker.
I
Yes,
like that.
exactly.
Okay, let's get off soup. What do you got here, Greg?
All right.
By
So
the
this
way,
is
somehow we've got an hour on this. This is supposed to be a quick episode. Somehow we've got an hour already. I don't know how we do this to ourselves, but continue.
all right. Do you want a household chore mediocre life update, or do you want a clothing mediocre life update?
Let's do clothing.
All right. I'm wearing it. New white
Okay.
t-shirt, baby. I've been a Hanes guy my whole life, and Danielle told me, she was like, you know what? Like your Hanes shirts, they're just like they feel a little cheap. Don't really like them. They get dirty too easily. You need a new white t-shirt. So we go out Black Friday, and that's when I bought this new pack of t-shirts. I have one over here just so I can kind of show the audience what we got here, what we're working with. So this is a Stafford. Can you
Okay.
see that, Will?
I got it. Yeah.
Okay. Stafford large. I didn't know because I was blocking
Stafford
myself.
like Matt. I got you.
Yeah, Stafford like Matt. What I really like about it, one, the cotton is a little bit more structured than a Hanes. You know how Hanes kind of get like very flimsy feeling. I don't know how often you wear Hanes, but they also hug the neck a little bit higher. Okay, so like a lot of my t-shirts will be, I don't know, like maybe an inch, half an inch lower than this. Like this is like really hugging my neck and really structured around the shoulders. And it feels classier to, like, I would feel more comfortable wearing just this t-shirt out versus like just throwing a Hanes on and walking out. So like it can serve as an undershirt, but it can also serve as the main shirt. And I think that's kind of where I am in my life with my white
That's a big
t-shirts.
difference. So that's where I was going to ask, because I feel like Hanes is meant to be an undershirt only, right? Like, I mean, you can certainly, I mean, anything you can wear out, like, if you don't give a fuck, you can
Right.
just like wear it out. And like, I think, so
But
I
this
think
is right
that's
next
the
to
big-
Hanes at the store. There's like, it's like Hanes and then this right next to each other.
What's the price point? Like, you don't have to say the exact price point, but like I'm saying, for comparison with Hanes, was there ever?
Great question. I feel like it was $27 for 4.
Okay, I don't buy a lot of white t-shirts, so I don't
Maybe it was
I don't
50.
know, but
I don't know. I can't remember.
anyways, it seems like it's a higher price point than Hanes, so
Mhm.
therefore better quality is likely what we're
Yep.
looking at here. I love a good white t-shirt. I've given up that I to the point that Danielle was making. I can't keep them clean. I don't, and also like for me, I'm the worst at washing my clothes as far as like keeping them in their crisp form. So
Right.
like clothes that I do like, I'm like very like a handful of, like, at least for like a little bit, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wear this. I'm gonna be very delicate with it. I want to make sure that it's nice, because once it starts to fade, once it starts to lose any type of like pop, or like the neckline gets a little bit, they used to
Mhm.
have those commercials where they're like, oh, does your neck look like a bacon strip or whatever? And like that's like a lot of those like Hanes ones can get to. Then I'm just like, I throw in the towel on it, right? And so this is back to, we were talking about the hat last week, where I'm like, I'm just bad at apparel and clothing care, which is
Mhm.
why I hesitate to spend good money on that type of thing. So I'm just like, even when I try, I usually kind of fail, whether I'm not doing, some of these need to, instead of going in the dryer cycle, you're supposed to take them out, let them, air dry or whatever.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I'm just,
yeah.
honestly, I don't do any of that bullshit. I'm just, which is why my clothes end up sucking. And then I'm always like, every 6 months, I fucking hate everything in my closet. Let me go
Yep.
spend $100 at Marshall's and go re-up my wardrobe. And then we'll repeat this in 6 months. And we'll just keep
Fast
doing this
fashion.
until the day I die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that you found a good white tee.
Try it out.
Yeah,
Go buy some Staffords.
I don't wear a lot of do you wear undershirts a lot? Like when you're like, this is the
I
reason I
wear
don't
a
buy a
lot
lot
of
of
like,
packs. I don't wear a lot of undershirts.
I wear a lot of shackets. Right. So like,
Sure,
I think it's
jacket.
really important with the shacket to have a nice you gotta have like a nice undershirt, whether it doesn't matter the color. Because I wear my shackets open, right? So I'll have like this with a shacket on top of it with like the necklace hanging down. And that's kind of the style that I go for. So I do, yes. Short answer, I do.
Okay. So that's the difference. I don't do that a lot. So that's why like I don't have that same same knowledge when it
Mhm.
comes to the undershirt world.
Maybe I'll buy you
Um,
some for Christmas, buddy.
Hey, there we go. I wouldn't mind that. I think I did actually recently buy technically a shacket. Is that what we're
Yeah.
calling it? A shacket? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
shirt
I bought
jacket.
one
Yeah.
from Costco recently. I don't know. It's a little heavier than I would imagine most shackets to be. So maybe it's
Mm.
just a coat. I don't know. Could be fooled by some marketing. That wouldn't be surprising. All right, we've got an hour and 5 minutes. Let's
Yeah,
just wrap
let's
this
wrap
thing
it up.
up here. Just for anyone that might still be listening, we are going to have an episode coming out on Tuesday. We're supposed to have a special guest lined up. Going to leave it as a little bit of a mystery, just in case, because you never know what might happen. But hopefully, we should have some really good insights from Celtics Pistons, the 1 seed in the East, Celtics, the 3 seed in the East, going into that game. Should be great. We'll have that for you, plus anything else that comes up between now and then. Greg, we did it again, somehow, some way, our longest episode featuring 20 minutes of basketball talk. We did it again, baby. They don't call us the best for no reason. We'll catch you guys later.